Please be seated, and please silence your devices. Kol omer pra, va'omar ma ekra. A voice calls out to me and tells me, say something. And I answered, what is it that I'm supposed to say? All flesh is grass, and all its grace is as the flowers of the field. The grass withers, the flowers fade when the breath of the Lord blows upon them. Surely we humans are but grass. The grass withers, the flowers fade, but the word of our Lord shall endure forever. The prophet Isaiah, chapter 40. The 23rd Psalm. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai Elohi lo etzar, bina b'sheyar b'tzedi, al menuchot b'na'alehi, nafshi shodet, יעתני למעגל צדק למען שמו גם ילך בקץ המוות לא יירא רע כי אתה עמדי שבטך ומשענתך שיתך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני תערוך לפני שולחן תערוך לפני שולחן תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי דישתה בשמן ראשי Dishanta Hashem Roshi, Dishanta Hashem Roshi, Kosi Levayah, Achto B'Chesed, Yedefuni, Koi Levayah, Deshati, Veshati bebet Adonai, Veshati bebet Adonai, leoret yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me to lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters. God restores my soul and guides me in straight paths for the sake of the divine name. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. My friend and colleague, Sheila's son-in-law, Rabbi Michael Bernstein, will lead us in Heshvan.
Mom dearly wanted Eshet Chayil to be part of this service of saying goodbye. I imagine it's because it's traditional, but Eshet Chayil itself means a woman of strength who can find, and so this was written for her and written for this moment. At Friday night when this is said, traditionally those around the table would stand, so I'm going to ask the family to stand while I sing this. Eshet Chayil nimtza merachok mipnimicha batachba lepala v'shalal lo yetzar b'malchuto v'lo ra כל ימי חייה, דרשת צמר ופשתים ותעש בחפת כפיה. הייתה גיוניות זוכר, ממך תלי לחמה, ותקום ביום לילה, ותיתן טרף, וביתה וחוק ונערותיה, זמם השדה ותיקחהו, מפרי כלפי ענק הכרם, כל רבי עוזמניה ותם מזרותיה, תמה כי טוב סוכרה ולא יכפה ולילה נהירה, ידיה שילחה וקישור וכפיה תמכו פלך, כפה פרסל ימי וידיה שילחה ליהדיון לא תירא לביתה משלג, כי כל ביתה לבוש שנים, מרבדים עשתה לה שהסביר גמל לבושה, נולדה בשערים בעלה ושיטרים, זקני הארץ אני נעשתה ותמכור, וחגורנה לכנעניות וידה לבושה, ותשחק ביום האחרון, כי אבותך בחוכמה ותורת חסד, על לשון הצופי הליכות ביתה, ולחם עצלות לא תאכל, קמו בעניה וישוע, ולהביא עליה, רבות בנו תעשו חיל, ויתה לי תלכו שקט והבל, היופי שיירת אדוני, איתי תלב תנולה, בפרי ידיה, והללויה, ושרי מעשיה. Her children rise and call her happy. Give her the reward she has earned. Let her deeds bring her praise in the gates.
God bless you, Michael, for using your voice to praise a true woman of valor. You may be seated. The Bible tells us in Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, L'kol zman ve'et, l'chol chefetz tachat hashamayim. A season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven. A time for planting and a time for reaping. A time for embracing and a time for refraining. A time for laughing and a time for weeping. A time for dancing and a time for wailing. A time for speaking and a time for silence. A time for seeking and a time for losing. A time to be born and a time to die. Friends, we gather today to remember the life and mourn the passing of Sheila Beberman, Shulamit Dina bat Yisrael Yitzchak B'Sheneret. Sheila was born in New York on the 21st day of Av in the Jewish year 5701, corresponding to the 14th day of August in the civil year 1941. Sheila passed away at the age of 77 on the 28th day of Tishrei in the Jewish year 5779, corresponding to the 7th day of October in the civil year 2018. On behalf of all those who knew and loved Sheila, you can see that there are many. I offer our deepest condolences to her three children, Mike Beberman and his wife, Roz, Beth Giffen and her husband, Chris, and Tracy Bernstein and her husband, Rabbi Michael Bernstein. Mike, Beth, and Tracy, you have lost your family's queen, your lighthouse, your center of gravity. The death of your beloved mother, our dear Sheila, leaves pain in your hearts and emptiness in ours. Though she often had to face the challenge of poor health, your mom nonetheless managed not only to smile, but shine. She sang, she acted, she taught, she studied, She cooked, she loved, she persevered. Her life was like the Hashamnu prayer of Yom Kippur turned inside out, not a list of sins, but a roster of good deeds and acts of loving kindness. I know firsthand that she loved all of you and your spouses very deeply. Wherever and whenever I would visit her, be it at her home, the hospital, or in rehabilitation, the three of you were the load-bearing columns of her life, her sun, her moon, her stars. I wish you a peaceful Avelut. Just as God showed Moses how to sweeten the bitter waters at Marah, may God also show you how to transform, in the due course of time, your bitter tears into the sweetness and warmth of good memories. We also share the pain of this day with Sheila's 10 grandchildren, Jonah, Sydney, Isaac, Jessica, Sarah, Evelyn, Joshua, Ayelet, Yaron, and Leon. You called her by different names, Grandma, Safta, and Cookie. But these terms of endearment all mean the same thing, a glowing source of unconditional love. The 10 of you were her own 10 commandments, precious responsibilities that she held close to her heart with justifiable pride. Just as we study and contemplate every letter and crown of our commandments, she thought about and talked about you in detail. I know that you, Jonah, for instance, where are you, Jonah? I know that you are a soccer star. Ayelet, I see you over there. You, I know, are pursuing excellence at Purdue in my hometown of West Lafayette, Indiana. Go Boilers. All 10 of you were always on her mind, and you were so lucky to know her at an age when her impression upon you will be permanent. This week's Torah portion tells the story of Noah, and I have been thinking about the raven and the dove that Noah released to check whether or not the waters had receded. The raven flew back and forth until the waters dried up. The dove, in contrast, came back to the ark because it was unable to find a resting place. Ravens make an annoying squawk, but doves sing beautifully, and so did Sheila. One always knew when Sheila arrived at Temple Bethel because her unmistakably gorgeous voice filled these rafters, usually during Musaf. Back in the day, she used her mellifluous voice on stage for our musicals, including the ensemble role of Virginia in Oklahoma, 1976, and the featured role of Ernestina Money in Hello, Dolly. It is hard to exaggerate how important these musicals were to the culture of our synagogue. For many people, and many who are seated right in front of me, those musicals provided precious memories and created lifelong friendships, many of them with Sheila. Sheila was part of that glorious time. But what does the song of a dove sound like? Well, it depends on the species. The dove of the Bible, the one that is most common in the Middle East, is known here as the laughing dove because its song sounds like a very pleasant chuckle. Sheila had a lively sense of humor that sparkled even when she was feeling physically quite ill. She once told me the story of how she was teaching in an elementary school, and her principal was a micromanaging pain in the neck, insisting that she and the other teachers fall in line and follow his ridiculous demands. One day, this principal severely chastised Sheila for some imagined violation of the rules. Sheila was a tough lady. She did not apologize. She did not cry. She did not beg for mercy. She merely said, "You have lipstick on your collar. You might want to take care of that before you tell me what to do." The principal never bothered her again. The dove that is most common here in the Western Hemisphere is known as the mourning dove because its song is in a sad minor key. I've heard it all over the place, I just didn't know it was a dove. It sounds like this. The sound of the mourning dove does not remind me of Sheila, who never once engaged in self-pity. She was not a sad woman. But that sad sound of the mourning dove does remind me of us. For Sheila is a woman worthy of deep mourning and sadness. In the Jewish tradition, we do not deny the reality of mourning and grief. Sometimes I hear people say, "Rabbi, I don't want a funeral when I die, I want a party." The problem with that notion is that there is a place in life for real sadness, and this is it. Grief must not be stifled or suffocated. The singing, laughing dove had her time for 77 sacred years, and now the mourning dove lets forth its sad tune. The story of Noah is about a man who, under dire circumstances, was forced to rebuild not only his life, but that of his family from the ground up. Although Noah eventually lands the ark on Mount Ararat, he cracks under the pressure. He plants a vineyard immediately, gets drunk, and loses his dignity as a result. Sheila had to do the same thing many, many years ago. She rebuilt her life and that of her family from the ground up. But unlike Noah, she never buckled under the stress, which I imagine was often quite severe. From a spiritual standpoint, her dignity only increased. She derived a lot of her strength from this place, Temple Bethel, and especially from Rabbi Mark Schlussel and his wife, Sylvia Schlussel, both of blessed memory. Sheila and her family spent every first Seder with the rabbi and the Rebbitzin, and every Yom Kippur break fast as well. Sheila studied Torah with Rabbi Schlussel and continued to do so with Rabbi Wise. She was a voracious reader who studied Torah at home when she became less mobile. She loved to study practical halakha, the intricate rules that govern day-to-day Jewish life, as well as musar, which is Jewish ethics and virtue, how to be a moral person. Because she liked to study musar, I'd like to share with you a brief classical musar teaching on the Torah portion this week. Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler, better known as the Michtav Eliyahu, wrote about Noah a little less than a century ago. He wrote that Noah's Ark was really just a theatrical prop. What really kept Noah and his family from perishing with the rest of the planet was Noah's genuine internal chesed, his loving, caring heart. He expressed this caring for the animals in his charge, and it was this chesed and not the ark itself that protected him. Sheila was much like Noah as described in this teaching. She was filled with chesed, with loving kindness. And it soothed her and her family during a long flood of illness and pain. Alas, her kind heart could not cure her disease, but it did bring her healing. We get cures from the doctors. We get healing from God and each other. Right now, I cannot help but think of what the Torah says about the dove. The dove came back to Noah toward evening, and there in its bill was a plucked off olive leaf. Noah waited still another 7 days and sent the dove forth, and it did not return to him anymore. Sheila, our dove, has found her resting place. She has found peace, often symbolized by an olive branch. We send her forth to be with God forever, and her children will mourn intensely for 7 days. But unlike the dove, Sheila will return to us. She will return to us, and we will feel her presence in rainbows, dreams, thunderstorms, and moments of joy that are now lined up for all of you for decades to come. Yehi Zichra Baruch, sleep well, Sheila Beberman. May your memory be blessed, and may the Holy One comfort your family with all those who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem. I now call upon Sheila's daughter Tracy to deliver words in her honor and memory.
Sheila Diane Singer Beberman died the way she lived, helping others. Of course, among the great ironies is that only in imminent death was she given the opportunity to make choices about her body and have comfort that was not afforded her over the last years of her life. Mom was a medical ninja who outplayed every catastrophic illness and element that befell her so that she could choose how and with whom she left the world. In classic mom style, with her endless resolve, dignity, and strength, she gave us the gifts of time, peace, and conversation to ease our burden. Countless friends, decades of students, children, grandchildren, and so many more benefited because she made us try harder, fight harder, and know that anything was possible. We just needed to figure out how. Mom was so proud to be Jewish, to share and carry on traditions. She also loved the big and the small touches that add beauty to the world. She cared about the details. She could take a $3 shmata and with a little bit of sewing and clever embellishment, turn it into a gorgeous piece of clothing. But her greatest artistic talent was as an extraordinary singer trained for the opera. She had declined an offer to study at La Scala and instead studied to become a teacher. When I was in high school, sometimes she would serve as the background music to my phone calls with friends as she sang an aria at the living room piano. My friends sometimes would ask, "Do you turn down the radio?" And it's hard to hear, and I'd say, "That's my mom." From a very early age, I was lucky to perform with Mom in community theater productions. Many here may remember that when I was 6, we performed together in the show Carousel, in which she performed the iconic song, "When You Walk Through a Storm." The haunting melody sounded as if it came from deep in her soul. I used to sit behind the stage-left curtain area to watch her perform, but she didn't know it. On the opening night, for the first few seconds after she finished her song and the orchestra ceased playing, the theater stayed completely silent. Mom didn't realize why. Then her eyes came into focus as she looked out on the audience, and she saw that they were all crying. The thunderous applause that followed had simply been delayed because she had so moved them that they were momentarily motionless. And boy, could she cook. Hold on, I can't see. All of our childhood friends knew that our house was the place to come to for a relaxed good time and the best food in town. Her ziti and garlic bread were literally famous. And of course, on Passover, the only place to get dessert was at our house with her brownies. Mom was always coming to the rescue. She flew on one day's notice to Atlanta to choose the house in which I now live while we were on sabbatical in Israel. She saved the residents of a small city in Poland that had suffered tainted water after severe drought. That is actually true. She saved my family during a house fire. She talked to a wrong number for 40 minutes because she heard loneliness and fear in this boy's voice. In recent years, she volunteered at a local home for pregnant teenage girls, teaching them the skills they needed to have a family of their own, like how to maximize store coupons, to create healthy menus, and how to make a budget out of almost no money. When she was in rehab most recently, she made a cookbook of her own and others' recipes as a gift for one of her physical therapists who was getting married. And she saved so many of us with her wisdom, creativity, grit, and plenty of dirty jokes. Mom counted her blessings and had a deep relationship and conversation with God throughout her entire life, the likes of which I strive for. She raised us to say the Shema every night before bed, and would even call me at college to say, "Are you saying the Shema?" Mom loved her family and was proud of all of us, but it was the 10 grandchildren who made her proudest of all. She was so proud, specifically and particularly of each of them. She loved learning the special things that they enjoyed to talk about, eat, or do, so she could be that special cookie nana, or grandma, or Savta, the one who talked about science, or went shopping, or hung out at Starbucks, or discussed theater. I love it. Savta loved your Starbucks days. You were her personal shopper, her fellow teacher. She could always relax and just talk to you, and she admired your combination of depth and style. She knew you were already a gifted and inspiring teacher. Rani, Savta loved talking math and science with you. She loved finding articles and innovations that you might not have seen yet. She would excitedly call to see that you received the magazine on science she had sent. She loved cooking the food you enjoyed, and it made her so very happy that you loved them with such gusto. And of course, there was always watching endless NCIS. Leon Shai, you were the one with whom Savta shared a love of music and theater. She loved that you, like her, found creativity and play so powerful in the world. She delighted in your insightfulness. She loved your deep caring and bravery to go for what was important to you, even when it was hard. It meant so much to her that you keep an American locket. She was also an incredible mother-in-law. About 1 month before every Passover, she would start looking for a new Haggadah for my husband, Michael. She wanted to make sure it had all the elements he would enjoy, and she would consult people to pick out just the right one, the newest edition, or the one with a completely different type of commentary. She cared about those she loved. She cared about what those she loved cared about. Mom was a fighter. She couldn't help it, no matter how hard things were. My favorite flower has always been the tulip, because it looks so simply beautiful and delicate, though it's actually incredibly strong, and it thrives in winter. I realize now that this lesson of beauty is not just from my mother, it is my mother. Two very big blessings come from a person with Mom's kind of fortitude and seeming invincibility. The first is a recurring reminder of her deep gratitude that this person remains in your life. The second blessing is the kernel of belief that somehow they will defy science and history and continue to beat all odds for an eternity. In tribute to the woman who lived her life in tribute of others, Mom, to me you are beautiful. To me you are the embodiment of grace. There is no one like you in the whole world. Mir bist du schön, bei mir hast du Recht, bist der bei mir auf der Welt.
God bless you, Tracy, for your such words of loving memory. I now invite Sheila's daughter, Beth Giffen, to deliver eulogy in honor of her mother.
Hello, everyone. Since we were born, Mom has always been there for us. She taught us what it was to be good Jewish people. She always had an ear to listen with, great advice usually, and a strong sense of family and tradition. One tradition I loved was Friday night Shabbat dinner. We always lit candles, then had chicken or mushroom barley soup, baked chicken, and of course sides. As a matter of fact, up until a few years ago, I thought you had to have chicken for Shabbat dinner. Like it was falafel, Jewish law. So imagine my surprise when someone actually served lasagna. Mom was known for her cooking and baking. That's how she got her nickname, Cookie Nana. She always baked cookies with my children and loved to have them in the kitchen with her. Every year, Mom would bake hundreds of pimentashim for the Temple Bethel community, family, friends for Purim. She always contributed to the Temple cookbook, and she loved sharing recipes with everyone. Mom was an amazing teacher, and I always enjoyed helping her set up her classroom in the summer and grade papers in the evening during the year. Teaching was such an integral part of who she was. She always helped us and her grandchildren with homework and essays. And she loved to teach whatever she learned and she felt was pertinent. Mom won the New Jersey's Governor's Award and Who's Who in American Teachers. She loved her grandchildren very much, and she understood each one of them on a personal level. When my son Josh was struggling, she taught him, good boys get good things. She always focused on that, not what happened to the bad boys. She always managed to say the right thing to each child. Jessica and she baked like crazy and loved watching the Food Network together. Sarah and she used to talk about everything under the sun and have meaningful conversations. Evelyn, or Evie, would only shop with one person, Cookie Nana. She would not let me go into a store with her. She was a wonderful mother-in-law, and my husband and Chris, and she had a special relationship, and it was beautiful. If something broke in the house, she would call him because she really loved to fix things, and he would always come when she needed him and help her out. Whenever times were tough at home, Mom made things fun. Instead of worrying about what's in the house to eat, she would take whatever we had, throw it in a pot, and call it Mommy's mush. It came with a dance she used to do when cooking called the mushy tushy, which was a creation all of her own. And no, I am not demonstrating it because nobody could do it like Mom. Of course, Mom never let things stay tough. She worked very hard to improve circumstances while making everything feel right for us. Mom was doctoring Mom to the neighbors. They would come to her for advice about their children, and she would always have an answer. They would even bring sick plants to the house for her to fix because she had a way of bringing them back. If you had a plant question or a child question, she was your woman. When I was a teenager, Mom used to take me to the opera. We both enjoyed the music and performances and just being together. It was very special. She had a great sense of humor. Mom was blessed with the ability to laugh at herself. When my kids were young, we all went on a paddle boat at Colonial Park. Mom was a trooper. We were all in one boat and it started to take on water for some reason. A lot of. She decided to get out, so we pulled up to the dock, and Mom was getting out. There were a couple of high school kids helping. All of a sudden, Mom had one foot on the dock, one foot in the boat, and the boat began to drift away. My husband, Chris, was yelling at them, "What the hell are you doing? Catch the boat! What's wrong with you?" I, being a wonderful daughter, was laughing hysterically. Mom was laughing at the silliness. Jessica was crying. Sarah, always one for a good joke, was laughing with me. Finally, Mom just dove in the water. We told Jessica, "Look, Cookie Nana fell into the water, but she can swim." After calming everyone down, Mom insisted on taking the kids for the promised ice cream, even though she was so dangerous. The family joke became, remember when Cookie Man fell in the water? And that was so funny. And everybody could laugh years later. One thing Mom did enjoy about my moving to Delaware was the tax-free shopping. She came down to help me find a place to live, and we went to a restaurant. When the check came with no tax, we had a big celebration. It started Delaware shopping, like shopping in Delaware. They need something taxed, come to Delaware, no tax. It was difficult to be so far away, but we always managed to get together. Mom got to know her grandchildren and had a special relationship with each one. What a blessing and a gift. To quote Mom, brush your hair, put on earrings, and you need a little lipstick. She will be greatly missed. Love you, Mom.
Thank you, Beth, for sharing your love of your mother with us. I now invite Sheila's son, Mike Beberman, to speak in memory of his mother.
You've already heard a lot of the prevailing themes, so I'm going to be repetitive, but that's because so many of these things you've heard have meant so much to all of us. Teacher, kind, funny, singer, thoughtful, generous, confidant, friend, mom, and grandma. These are some of the words used to describe Sheila Beberman. For over 53 years, I've been abundantly lucky enough to call her mom. She asked me to make sure that we tell jokes and laugh this week. Mom wanted us to smile and laugh. Since I know the type of jokes Mom likes to tell, I will reserve those for a more appropriate venue. But in true Mom fashion, if I slip up and I say a bad word, I'm supposed to blame it on her friend Dorothy. Mom and I had a special relationship. I was lucky enough that we lived close by. From the times when I was a kid and she would let me stay up late and play board games after everyone else in the house was fast asleep, to watching all of my high school football games, dancing with me at my wedding, reveling in my family, and traveling to Italy with me. It was very special. I want to share a few things about that trip to Italy a few years ago to give you insight to the depth of my mom's character, her determination, and her love for life and people. As many of you know, Mom was a trained opera singer, and if you didn't know before you walked in, now you really know. She had a tremendous love for music. The only thing that I could ever recall her wishing, because she never asked us for anything. You say, what do you want for your birthday? She didn't ask for anything. But the only thing that I could ever recall her wishing out loud was that she wished to visit Italy, the land of her favorite language of opera, and it's also known to have some pretty good pasta, which she enjoyed. We went and we saw many wonderful things. We had fantastic meals, but three things from that trip really stand out in my mind. The first was when I took her to see a live opera in a very small, intimate venue. It was a concert of various arias and Italian folk songs performed by three tenors. She was beaming as the music surrounded us and beautifully sang when the singers prompted the audience to join in singing Funiculi Funicola. The second memory was quintessential Sheila Beberman. The two of us sat down in a pretty nice restaurant in Rome, and within 3 minutes, she was friends with Deborah and Federico from Bologna. Thanks to Facebook, Mom was able to retain a long-distance relationship with them. Lastly, I recall our trip to the Colosseum in Rome. The picture that I posted on Facebook and that is on the montage of the two of us at the top of the Colosseum did not come easily. At that time, Mom was at best walking with the aid of a cane, And for long distances, I had to wheel her around in a wheelchair. She wanted to see the Coliseum, and I found out that it is not wheelchair friendly. She said, let's do it anyway. We took a taxi to the Coliseum, but it dropped us off at the top of a steep brick staircase, citing that it couldn't get any closer to down where the entrance was. Mom said, let's do it. So we walked, her right arm holding her cane and her left arm linked in mine. We would stop every so often on the staircase, but she insisted on continuing. After about half an hour, we made it to the entrance. We sat on a nearby bench for a few minutes and then we went in. Mom said that she was a good travel partner because they always led us to the front of the line because she was an old lady with a cane. I really couldn't argue with her logic. It worked. We walked around the entire lower level. It's the size of a pro football stadium. It's not a small place. She just kept going. She wanted to see every inch of it. She wanted to enjoy it. We were tired. Yes, I said we because I was tired too. It's a lot of walking. But Mom wanted to see the upper tier. She wanted to see what life was like in the cheap seats for the Romans. We had to go back around half the Coliseum to get to where we can go upstairs, but we did it. That picture taken at the top with a weary smile represents the determination my mom had to do what she thought was good, necessary, fun, or important her whole life. She endured the struggles, embraced the love, and the beauty of the moment, and she never quit. To be part of that, and to witness her firsthand like that, is something I will always treasure. Mom has blessed me in more ways than I can count. She loved my wife, Roslyn, so much that she often said, she thanked me, and she said I brought her a third daughter, and I know that Roz loved her the same way. I could not have wished for a better grandparent role model for my kids, Jonah, Sydney, and Isaac. The laughter, caring, and love that she gave to them and that they to her will endure and hopefully be passed down for generations. She adored them and they adored her. Before I called her to tell her that Jonah scored a goal, or Sydney made National Honor Society, or one of the many funny things that my little guy Isaac has done, she had already found out somehow and told half the people wherever she was. She delighted in their achievements and she gave them unconditional love. Mom made each of them feel as if he or she were her favorite. Mom had a talent of connecting with people and making them feel special. We will each remember her in our own way, whether it's because of her cooking, her dirty jokes, or if you've been fortunate enough to hear her sing, you would never forget the beauty in her voice. If you played mahjong or cards with her or needed advice, if you were in the hospital or rehab with her, Mom's outgoing nature and friendliness and love were beyond compare. Mom had friendships that go back over 50 years. She shared things like the Humantaschen baking that my sister mentioned, the Oscar night viewing party at Lenny's, and so many other things. Mom enjoyed her fellow teachers and people she met through volunteering. Mom had forged a special bond with Rabbi and Mrs. Schlessel, both of blessed memory, that was incredibly special and evolved into us being extended family. She was so honored that we would be at the rabbi's house for Pesach Seder every year, and that they would come to us for the Yom Kippur Breakfast. She rejoiced at the simchas of the Schlessel and Bednarz families, and she grieved at their losses. I am so proud and happy that our bond continues for another generation as my son Jonah plays soccer at Yeshiva University under the guidance and watchful eye of YU Athletic Director and friend Joe Bednarz. Mom made best friends wherever she went, from her dear friends at Canal Walk, where she loved her card games, to her newest friends at the rehab center. I'm not able to list all of you, but you know what you meant to my mom. My mom was an only child, and she loved her family deeply. She loved all her cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody with her whole heart. She considered her cousins Patty, Amy, and Nancy more like the sisters she never had. The prevailing theme when it came to my mom in regards to her family and friends was love. Very simple. We used to make a little bit of fun at what her mom told us at the end of every conversation. My grandma, Jean Singer, of blessed memory, said, just love each other. At the time, I'm like, oh, yeah, right, okay, we'll just love each other. My mom picked up that mantle and pushed it with a vengeance. Just love each other. So, this love that my mom had for her friends and family was beautiful because it was given and returned in abundance. A long time ago, I decided to try to honor my mother by being more like her. I don't know if I'll ever hit that, but I will try. Time will tell if I come close, but I know that she would be happy if we sing her songs, tell her jokes, help others, cook way too much food for our guests, smile when we think of her, be there for our friends and family, and love each other as she loved us.
Thank you, Mike, for honoring your mother so beautifully. I now invite Sheila's daughter-in-law, Rosh Beberman, to deliver a eulogy in her memory.
Hi, everyone. So nice to see everybody here today. I was honored to be known as Sheila's favorite daughter-in-law. Competition was huge, excuse me. But 22 years ago, I was blessed to find my beautiful love, Michael. And then I truly found what it felt like to have the best 2-for-1 ever, because I got the most amazing mother-in-law. Sheila and I ended up in the beginning. In our second dinner together, she goes, you two deserve each other. It could have possibly been because we had a very well-planned practical joke that went off without a hitch. But truthfully, throughout our whole life together, she felt that way. And it was true. On the first function I ever went to, when I started dating Michael, it was Sheila's retirement party. Well, not party, but the actual retirement. They had a buyout that year, and several people had retired. So, you know, they would have a couple people come up and say how thankful they were for each person. When it was Sheila's time, there literally was a line almost out the door. I was amazed. The impact that she had with people, young, friends, anybody, strangers on the street was phenomenal. Mom personified beauty, kindness, and unconditional love. She taught me the art of shopping, the thrill of getting a good deal, and the importance of having a couple good jokes in your repertoire. She guided me in my early Jewish life and was my make-believe when I chose to convert. Her example on Hodesh has inspired me to be the mother, wife, and Jew that I am today. I am privileged to have known her in this world and to have called her mom. And thank you all for coming, because it's just really lovely seeing all your faces here for her.
Thank you, Roz, for sharing your unique love of Sheila. Sheila's family asks that donations in her honor be made either to Temple Bethel or to the Kurcholim of Raritan Valley. At the family's request, please refrain from making Shiva visits until 6:30 p.m. this evening. The full Shiva schedule with addresses and dates is available on our website, templebethelsomerset.org. Rabbi Bernstein will share some words with us and then lead us in El Maleh, the memorial prayer.
Before I say the traditional prayer, which is about the ascension of Mom's soul to a world that is beyond our understanding and to a deeper place within everyone she touched, just want to share one thought about those final moments that we had to be together and what they really resonated with in all of the time that I had a chance to, and the honor to be part of this family and to know her. One of the first people I met after meeting Tracy. That was part of this beautiful family. Towards the end of her struggle, we were about to go into Simchat Torah, the celebration of the Torah, and those, Liana and I, and Yaron and Ayelet, who were home while Tracy was with her mom. So how are we going to rejoice? How are we going to have any rejoicing at this moment? And Tracy reminded me how much Sheila loved Torah, just loved Torah. And that was what pushed us to be able to dance with the Torah on that night. In our synagogue, we have the tradition of unrolling the entire Torah around the sanctuary. And I also noticed that the last letter of the Torah, the last letter of the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, is a Lamed. And of course, the first letter of the Torah, Bereshit bara Elohim, is a Bet. When you put the Lamed and Bet together, you get the word Lev, which is heart, which is as good a word as any to sum up who Sheila is. And very much in those last moments, it was that heart, that beating heart, the heart of her family, the heart that brought not only the Torah together, the Lamed and the Bet, but the Torah of her life, the Torah of those that she touched in her entire family. I thought about just how those last moments, all of those aspects that we know about Sheila were present. A person who never spoke with vanity, but always spoke with pride about those that she was so close to. Her generosity, every aspect of what was important to her. We sang together, dirty jokes make another appearance. Even trying those foods that she knew were going to be for the last time, just to have those tastes. But what shined through in those moments was her heart full of gratitude. She made sure to speak to everyone she could, to share a moment, to show them how much she was thankful for them. That's what shined through everything, even the doctors and the nurses, she made sure to tell them how much she was grateful. And it just shined from her heart. Even though we all know that she had the resilience that has been spoken of, that she didn't always get to control those aspects of her life that she had to respond to, and certainly the illnesses. She was able to choose on her own terms those last moments and make them full of her heart and the people who filled her heart. And when that heart finally stopped beating in this world, it beat so strongly in those that she loves, in Mike and Beth and Tracy. And Razi, Chris, and I know that she has given that heart, that beating heart full of gratitude that cannot be stopped in this world and the next, to all of those that she touched, especially those who were the dear part of her family. That heart is one that I will never forget the presence of. And Sheila will always be part of me, part of my heart, connecting the Torah of the Lamed, the last moments of the Torah as Moses ascends to look into the promised land, with the Bet, the Bereshit, the restarting, the beginning, always able to find new thoughts, new heart, new spirit. new memories, new love. We rise as we are able for the El Malei Rachamim. God, full of mercy, thank you for lending your everlasting love and mercy to us through Sheila Beberman. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamrumim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashchina, B'malot Kedoshim U'Teharim, Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Shulamitina Bat Yisrael Yitzchak V'Shem Rezel Shachar Olama V'Gan Eden Zehei Meluchata Ana Barachamim Astira B'Seter Gnafecha Leolamim Utzror Chaim Et Nishmata Adonai Hunachlata V'Tanuach V'Shalom Al Mishkava V'Nomar Amen. May her soul be bound up in the bonds of life. Adonai is her portion. May she rest in peace in a place beyond our imagination and even our dreams, and the deepest place within all of us. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, friend. The pallbearers should now come forward. They are grandchildren Jonah, Josh and Yaron, as well as Chris, and cousins Arnold, Marshall, Drew, Joel, and Sandy. Please direct your attention to the funeral director for some important announcements.
Ladies and gentlemen, burial will be at Beth Israel Cemetery in Woodbridge. Those individuals going after the casket leaves, please return to your car, line up in back of the limousine. We do have directions. At this time, please remain standing until the casket leaves.
יושב בסתר ובצל די קורא נאמר לעבודה מקסימום סודתי אלוהי צפות יראו יסיר חביביו יחוש מדרבות בברותו יוסף שתחת חפצת דינה בסופר אמיתות לא תיראי פרנתי ללכת ופיומה מדרבות יעלו יקנת יחוד צהריים Ipol mitinare kurva divide noelue kalloigan Ragene sabile siluano savise Yatala cielo sable odeta Lobule maral negamorika se odeta Iba mitadeza Nikona nekona neba Ana ikno sabile Gobale rale Bakana Dios te bendiga, ni hasta que piada, y